All right, in this video, we're gonna be breaking down the function of the lats, how to properly target your lats when doing any kind of row or pull down variation, and how you can maximize your lat engagement and reduce the amount of bicep or grip engagement that you're getting when doing your row in movements so you can grow a nice thick back, primarily those lats. Let's jump right into it. So the first thing I want us to understand is how the lats are actually activated. The lats are in charge of two functions, which are shoulder extension and horizontal adduction, bringing the arm down to our side here to here and bringing that arm in front of us down to our side. Now, the most important thing to look at when talking about engaging the lats is not the forearms or the hands. I could care less about where my hands are. All I care about is my elbow in relation to my body. Now, what do I mean by this? In terms of doing shoulder extension, bringing that arm down my side, that elbow goes from here to here is activating the lats. Anything past here into shoulder extension, I'm going to need to retract my scapulas or bring my shoulder blades back in order to get that arm behind me. This is not the function of the lats. Remember, the lats only activate from here to here or from here to here. So when we're doing any kind of row or pulling, I want you to only focus on your elbow. Where is my elbow in relation to my body? Am I coming down by my side like this, or am I coming in front of me like this? If you do both of those movements, you are going to target those lats. Now, a really great cue to use to reduce the amount of forearm or bicep engagement is, instead of thinking of a row like I'm just pulling the weight towards me, I'm just grabbing those weights and I'm pulling them towards me, where you're gonna get a lot of scapular retraction as well as bicep engagement. You simply wanna think of, how am I gonna get my elbow from here to here? That's simply it. Here to here is the entire range of motion for those lats. Again, with a pull down, you're gonna take a nice wide grip. How do I get my elbow from here down to here? It's that simple. It's not pulling it in, trying to get all shrunked up like that. It's really more, how can I get that elbow in a sweeping motion, driving my elbow down like this, letting my shoulder move freely, right? I'm not keeping my shoulder blades back and just, trapping my traps like that. I really want to focus on getting that elbow down by my side like this. This is super important to understand. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show a couple examples of myself doing a row, a pull down, and a pull up variation, so that way you guys can see the functions of the lats in the actual gym, and also the difference between how I'm not engaging my traps and my rhomboids by retracting my scapula, because it's really important not to engage your traps and rhomboids if your goal is to isolate those lats. So let's jump into the computer and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, we're gonna look at 4 different exercises to demonstrate what I previously mentioned. We're gonna look at a pull-up, we're gonna look at a horizontal pull row variation, we're gonna look at a pull down on the machine, and we're gonna look at a wide grip row with a chest support. So let's just jump right into it. So the first thing we want to look at is going to be the pull up. Now, the pull up is going to be an exercise that is bringing the elbow down to our side. So this is, again, vertical adduction, bringing that elbow down to the hip here. So the way I'm setting this up is, again, I'm getting a wide grip to reduce the amount of bicep engagement that I have to incorporate, and really focusing on driving those elbows down to my hips. Now, Josh, I hear you saying I can't drive my elbows down to my hips. The exercise is me pulling myself up. That's okay. The focus with this, remember, is thinking about bringing those elbows down to the sides, because as you bring the elbows down to your sides, your chest is going to rise and your body is going to lift up. So even though you're the weight that's moving with this one, it is the same function as a pull down, as you'll see here in a second. Now, this is a pull down machine, which is different than a cable pull down. They're very similar. It's still just, again, adducting the arm. But with this exercise, instead of having a cable pulling directly down with a wide grip, I'm taking a wide grip right here, using my straps. Always use your straps when doing a row variation, and see how the exercise itself, the machine, doesn't necessarily have to, come straight down. It is allowing my arm path to come down to the side like this. This takes the tension from being directly pulling me up and incorporating bicep to now simply allowing me to drive through that elbow. I'm only focusing on the elbow here, bring that elbow as close to my hip as possible. And notice how I'm minimally leaning as well. I don't necessarily like to lean back a ton, because this is going to incorporate muscles like your spinal erectors, and obviously the least amount of scapular retraction we can get, the better as well, because if we're shrugging our shoulders back, now we're engaging our traps and rhomboids. So with this, we're really focusing on just adducting those elbows down to our side. We only care about the upper arm, not really focusing on the forearms here. So that's going to take care of of the majority of the muscle fibers of the lats, primarily the lower lat fibers. Now, if you want to activate the muscle fibers of the upper lat a little bit better, you can do something like a horizontal pull, like a row variation like this. But again, make sure that you're not leaning forward a ton, because the only function of the lats is the elbow. That elbow extension, bring that elbow to our side. So anything where you're leaning forward, anything where you're kind of rounding a ton is not going to be beneficial for the lats. We're prioritizing lat training here, not overall back development. Because remember, the more motor unit recruitment you can get to the targeted muscle, which in this case is the lats, the more that muscle will get a growth stimulus and thereby grow as a result. So again, if you're doing a seated row variation like this, arm goes out to here, and then we're pulling it back to our sides. Not to be confused with a wide grip row variation, which looks like this. If you're doing a wide grip, your primary goal should be flaring those arms out and retracting those scapulas. Granted, yes, the upper arm is moving and you are getting that shoulder extension as well for the rear delts with a wide grip row, but your primary focus should be scapular retraction as well as bringing those elbows back like that. So it is kind of a combination of the two. You're gonna be hitting your traps, you're gonna be hitting your rhomboids and your rear delts with this exercise. In order to hit your entire back in one day, I like to do a chest supported wide grip row variation for my traps, rhomboids, and rear delts. And for my lats, I will do a pull down of some kind. I do not waste my time with doing something like a seated close grip row with the arms are tucked by my sides, simply because it is a lot easier for you to retract your scapula with this one, and you are going to be incorporating some rear delts with this one, which I really want to focus on my lats when I'm targeting my lats. So I just stick to doing some kind of pull down variation where it's going to hit my lats entirely and not really have any exercise overlap with those different muscle groups. All right, that's going to be it for going over lat development and overall back development. It makes it very simple, very easy for you guys to start programming into your upper lower sessions, your back days, your push days, whatever you're doing with your programming. This is the bread and butter for growing your back, because again, you're completing the joint action through its full range of motion and getting the most amount of mechanical tension to the targeted muscle. And one final note, remember to use straps on your exercises. Having straps is going to significantly increase the amount of load you can put on your hands without having your meaty little forearms giving out before your big lats do. So make sure that you're training with straps when doing any kind of row variation, because this will significantly increase the amount of load that you can add, so your grip isn't the limiting factor. All right, I have an outro or something recorded here. Let's go take a look at that. All right, that's gonna be it for this video. Make sure you guys try these techniques out in the gym. Use your lifting straps so your grip doesn't give out, and make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss any more of these educational fitness videos. I'm gonna be putting tons more out there just like this, going over technique, exercise selection, and a lot more stuff just like this. If you guys want one-on-one coaching, or if you guys are interested in the 12-week masterclass that I mentioned in the video, make sure you go to SweatSphereFitness.com, where I have not only the free macro calculator, but also everything I previously just mentioned. All right, that's gonna be it from me. I will see you guys inside the SweatSphere.